With the recent release of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I wanted to go back and get the Platinum Trophy for Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is also my first Final Fantasy game. And since PS Plus had the Intermission DLC, I went through and got 100% on that as well. Now, before we get started, if you enjoy the video then please give it a like, and if you want to see me get more Platinum Trophies, consider subscribing. And without any further ado, here's how I got the Platinum Trophy for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Enjoy. Getting right into it, I encounter the first enemies of the game, and defeating them gets me the first trophy, warming up.
Oh, come on, trophy once already, that's fast.
Shortly after, I raise the pressure bar and stagger the dug, getting me the staggering start trophy. I head into the reactor and use Barrett's lightning materia to hit the sweeper's weakness. Doing that gets me the weakened resolve trophy. After dealing with that, I defeat Scorpion Sentinel and escape, finishing Chapter 1 and getting the first of many chapter related trophies.
But chapter 1 is finished.
Chapter 2 didn't have much to talk about. I finished it, got the trophy, and moved on to Chapter 3 where things got a lot more interesting. I meet Cloud's childhood pal Tifa, then start with some side quests. While exploring the nearby junkyard, Cloud got trapped, so using Tifa I defeated the enemy, getting me the trophy Bonds of Friendship. Then shortly after, I leveled up my first materia and got another trophy. After doing a few quests, I return and speak to this lad. Doing so completes the quest and gives me the Gotta Start Somewhere trophy. Doing each side quest in this chapter also unlocks a dress later on, which is also needed for 2 more trophies. I head back out into Sector 7 and manage to find my third music disc, giving me the Music Collector trophy. These discs are found throughout each chapter and are needed for another trophy later on. As I was finishing the chapter, I made my way to the top of the darts leaderboard in 7th Heaven, getting me the Heavenly Darts Player trophy.
I'm just too good. Too easy.
Then shortly after, I got the Mercenary Endeavours trophy for finishing the chapter. Starting off in Chapter 4, I miss out on a trophy for keeping my health above 75% in the bike minigame, which I'll come back to later. I go on to steal some ID, then get jumped in a storage facility. I use my cool new summoning material to summon a freak, and get a trophy. Then shortly after getting out of the facility, I make my way back to Sector 7, where I get jumped by ghosts. While fighting them, I get my weapons proficiency up to 100%, unlocking that weapon's abilities on all my other weapons, and the trophy my first ability. Finishing off Chapter 4. After running through the subways for ages, I also finished Chapter 5. While playing through Chapter 6, I discover a door in the fans near the end of the chapter. After dealing with all the lights, I head up and defeat the enemies. Doing so lets me get the Chocobo and Moogle summoning material, and the Cleanup Crew trophy. Then shortly after, I finished off Chapter 6 and moved on to Chapter 7, where I remove loads of upgrades for that chapter's boss, then go into the disposal room. Doing so gives me a trophy, and loads of treasure. After that, I defeat the Airbuster, fall down, finishing Chapter 7. After falling, I woke up in a church and met Aerith, who is the last playable character in the game. I fight this Donnie and then escape through the rooftops. After a while, we make it back to the Sector 5 slums to see Chadley. Speaking to him gives me the option to unlock summons by beating them in battle. Using both Cloud and Aerith, I beat Shiva and managed to get the Summon Slayer trophy.
Keep on.
We make it back to Aerith's house and pick some flowers for the nearby orphanage. After doing that, we give them the flowers and I get a trophy. Similarly to Chapter 3, Chapter 8 has side quests, and doing them all unlocks a dress in a later chapter. While doing the quests, I unlocked the Whack-A-Box minigame. Beating it gave me the Crate Annihilator trophy. After finishing the quests, I have a scrap with Andrew Tate, then get told to bugger off. I do so and Aerith falls, finishing off Chapter 8. I follow the path and go through this stupid tunnel of giant hands. After a while, I make it out and find Tifa getting taken to Wall Market. After following them, I speak with Johnny, who is this lovely bloke, then made my way to Corneo's mansion. To make a long story short, I get a massage, fight a house, and wait for Aerith to get her dress. While waiting, I go back into the arena from before and beat a set of enemies, getting me the returning champion trophy. Then I head into the gym and complete a few squatting challenges. After beating all 3 difficulties, I get another trophy. After that, I finish any remaining side quests, then head back. Aerith got her dress, then took Cloud to the Honeybee Inn. He gets violated, and I get a trophy for being mint to the rhythm games. Then shortly after, I got my first trophy for getting my first 3 dresses from all the side quests I did prior. I head back to Cornelia's mansion, Cloud gets violated again, then I finish the chapter. The next 4 chapters are mostly story related and have no extra trophies for me to collect, but if you really want to know what happened, they dropped the Sector 7 plate. Moving on to chapter 14, there are more side quests for me to do. I complete the Whack-A-Box minigame from before on the hardest difficulty, then I see Johnny for the last time.
Oh, Keon. What that romantic guy.
I returned to the gym and completed all of the pull-up challenges with Tifa, which was a bit harder than the squats. Unfortunately, the clip didn't save, so here's the screenshot. Then I went through and finished the chapter 14 story. I find a letter on the floor from the Sector 5 angel giving me the Divine Gratitude trophy. Shortly after, I finish off the chapter and move on. I play through the remaining story and make sure to collect any music discs I find. I finished chapters 15, 16, 17, and finally 18, finishing off the main story. Now that my first playthrough is done, I run it back on hard mode, which is significantly more difficult because there's no way to recover any MP. I slowly make my way through the game, and during chapter 3 I complete all the side quests again to unlock a different dress for Tifa. While playing the next chapter, I managed to get Cloud to level 50, getting me the Building Character trophy. Similarly to chapter 3, I finish only half of the side quests in chapter 8 to unlock another dress for Aerith. Then in chapter 9 I find my last music disc that I'd forgotten to grab in my first playthrough, and later in the same chapter I did my last set of side quests, getting myself a trophy and the 6th dress needed. I kept making my way through and made it back to chapter 14 where I found Chadley once again. Throughout both playthroughs I was given battle intel reports to do, which had me doing various tasks against enemies. After beating all 20 of them, I finally got the Intelligence Agent trophy. Later that same day, I made it to chapter 17 and got the proficiency on my last weapon to 100%, giving me the Weapons Expert trophy.
Woohoo!
I then finished chapter 17 again and decided to move on to some of the trophies I missed before. Starting with Biker Boy, the one I didn't get at the start of the game. I started the chapter again on easy mode and made my way through the minigame. I got the trophy done on my first attempt and moved on to the next. I went through chapters 3, 8 and 9 one last time and got the remaining 3 dresses needed for the Dress for 9 trophy, then head back to chapter 17 to start off the last few battle related trophies. I start off by getting the Staggering Feat trophy for getting a 300% stagger bonus on an enemy. I do so on the Fat Chocobo mini boss, since the stagger bar goes down at a slower rate than the others. I use Tifa's abilities to raise it as high as I can and managed to get it first try. I then go into the 3-person vs Monsters of Legend battle simulator and make sure to equip the enemy skill materia to Barret. After making my way through each battle, I make it to Marlboro. If I defeat him, I get a trophy. I tried to get the last enemy ability, so I got Barret hit with bad breath at the start of the fight, which didn't count for some reason. So I continued. He got hit again with it, and it still didn't count, until he got revived. As I was dodging away with Cloud, he got hit for a 3rd time, and it finally counted, getting me the Master of Mimicry trophy. 5 minutes later, I also defeated Marlboro and got my well-deserved trophy.
Yes!
This now leaves the single hardest trophy in the game, the Ultimate Weapon, for defeating the Pride and Joy prototype. Before getting to fight the Pride and Joy, you first need to beat all the summons that you fought before, including Shiva, Fat Chocobo, Leviathan, and Bahamut, who can also summon Ifrit if you're not careful. Luckily, there was an incredible guide online that made this whole fight so much easier from someone called Shin Ryu. After days of struggling and many attempts, I managed to defeat the Pride and Joy prototype.
Yeah!
Yeah! Oh my god, I've done it, oh my god. Now that I was done in the simulator, I can now finish my hard mode playthrough. Using another guide, this time from someone called Obdanoob, I got through the first boss after only a few attempts. I then had to fight the big boss Sephiroth. I went through this fight on my own, and only after 2 attempts I managed to defeat him. After watching the credits for the last time, I finished chapter 18 on hard mode, getting me the Hardened Veteran trophy. Then shortly after, I got the platinum, finishing off the base game. And now it's time for the DLC. The DLC takes place between chapters 7 and 12 of the base game. It follows Yuffie, a Wotanian ninja who collects materia. I make it to sector 7 and find Avalanche. They tell me about some things to do and then I head off. Just outside is a happy turtle, wanting me to collect flyers heading across the sector. Getting all of them will give me a trophy and is this DLC's form of collectible. There's also Fort Condor or Clash Royale. I need to beat 6 folk, then the Grandmaster, to get another trophy. After running about the sector looking for all 6 flyers, I find each one and head back to the turtle. After giving them to him, I get a magnifying materia and my first DLC trophy. Similarly, I do the same thing with Fort Condor. I run around, beat everyone, then find the Grandmaster, Chadley. And since I was never any good at these sorts of games, I followed a guide to beat him, and after only a few attempts I managed to become the Master.
Yes!
Since I'm already speaking to Chadley, I also defeat the only summon fight in the DLC against Ramuh. After that, I head back and meet Sonon, who is another ninja. We get some IDs and head into the construction site. We both take down the Gigantopede boss and finish the chapter. Chapter 2 has us running about the Shinra building looking for materia. Whilst there, I found the Shinra Boxbuster challenge. It was quite difficult, so I came back later on when I had better gear. I continued on, and after fighting loads of robots, I make it to the end of the chapter, where I need to fight Nero to escape. After a hefty battle, I win, I watch Sonon die, then I finish the DLC's story. Then I run it back on hard mode. On hard mode, there are more difficult Fort Condor battles, but luckily there's an easy strategy to cheese every single fight, including Chadley, using both the Sogre and the guard dog pieces. I used that strat and bested my way back up to the top and got a trophy.
Oh my god, that was like the easiest trophy in the game.
I then quickly finished the game again on hard mode and got the Road of Revenge trophy. After finishing the story, I also unlocked the combat simulator in the DLC, which had another Pride and Joy fight. This one wasn't nearly as hard as the other, but it was still quite difficult since you still had to fight 2 other summons, being both Bahamut and Ifrit again, and Ramuh. I watched another guide on how to beat it, and after a few hours worth of attempts, I managed to finally beat the boss, giving me the Ultimate Weapon 2.0 trophy.
Yes! Come on!
I would like to say a quick thanks to the channel called Blitz for the video guide. After beating Pride and Joy again, I'll make my way back up to the Boxbuster minigame, and with my new weapons and abilities, I managed to get it all done in just under 5 attempts, getting me the trophy.
Yes! I didn't think to use general form, but yes, it worked! Yes, it worked! Come on! 3 seconds to spare. Come on! Materia Maven, come on!
Which leaves the last trophy needed for 100%. I return to the base game and head to the combat simulator in chapter 17, because after beating the DLC, it unlocks one last final boss fight against Whis. This fight is hard. You need to time your dodges perfectly, and if you take too long, Whis will end the battle, or so I thought. After watching another guide from Obdanoob, he makes a build that manages to dodge most of his attacks without perfect timing, and finishes the battle before Whis ends it abruptly. Then, after many attempts of using this guide, I managed to defeat Whis, getting me 100% on the DLC, and finishing off Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh my god, I've just done it! Yes!
This is what's possible.
Get this up here!
Now, before finishing the video, I just want to quickly thank Blitz, Obdanoob, and Shinryu once again for their amazing guides. And I want to thank you for watching all the way through. If you have any platinum suggestions, please stick them down in the comments. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one.